a little bit of art, a little bit of science, 3 ingredients, an image of a product, place, or thing, a logo, and inscription to give it context. And that's what we did to create this year's Council Lane Business Park Award. We'll show you how we did what we did. Stick around. 3D Crystal behind the scenes. Next.
It's just so incredible. Gotta have it. Can't let it go.
Hey everyone, Riaz here with 3D Crystal and Cockpit 3D, and welcome to this edition of 3D Crystal Behind the Scenes. So for this one here, we're going to talk through a few different concepts using Cockpit 3D, where we're going to apply X-ray, projection, and create a very unique award for the Council Lane Business Park. So what you have here is a curved crystal. Now to select your different crystal templates, simply click over here and you'll be able to select, this one here is called a half moon, and you can select your template. This here lended itself quite well to the half moon just because of the amount of information. Sometimes it's a rectangle shape, sometimes it might be a tall pillar type of a crystal. In this case here, we thought we'd propose a half moon just because it was creative and it looked different and quite nice. You'll notice here that we have different texts with different styles. So to do that, it's quite simple. Click on the letter T. It'll add layers over here. We have many layers for each of the different texts that you see here. I'll give you an example. If I click on for expertise, which is this layer here, it's typed in over here. You've got your font here. If I click on her name, Alessandra, that's over there. You've got your font over here, right? You can move it however you want. Now this font over here is a little different. It's actually not through the letter T here. For this, what you would want to do is go into Photoshop. Let me just hop into Photoshop here. And what you would do is you would simply create a white background and type in the text in black in this case, and it will create this effect of that white border. Simply save it, come back into Cockpit, and import that JPEG. And just a tip here, a lot of people do ask is they click on here and they're not able to open up their 2D file. If you want to import 2D texture or a 2D file, click on this one here and you'll be able to bring in your JPEGs, I believe BMPs as well. All right, and then in terms of the building, so this building is actually positioned quite well already. I think it's sized quite well as well. You probably don't want to go too close to the edge. Give yourself some work room just in case. As you know, crystals might be off by a couple millimeters, but what we definitely want to do is we want to create the 3D pop. So in order to get 3D, you got to go to cockpit3d.com, upload your JPEG over there, and the artists will model it to 3D, a couple hundred artists working for you. And once it's modeled, same day service, you can then download that 3D file and again, import it here into Cockpit 3D. And then what you'll do is use your non-uniform scale tool to decide how thick you want it. Okay, isn't that cool? And now what we're gonna do is we are going to create the point cloud. You just click on go. Make sure your settings are correct for your laser. So in our case, the secret formula, not so secret formula that we share is 0707852. So on the XY spacing 07, on the Z spacing 07, 8 layers, factor of 5, diffusion of 2, and snap, there you go. And here it is, 0707852. So if you didn't catch that, you can just go back a little bit on this video and you'll see exactly how I got to that window. So now what I want to do is I want to save this point cloud as a layer. So then that way I can make all my geometry invisible and I'll just work with kind of this point cloud frozen as is with the settings. So I'm just going to go to Tools, Add Point Cloud Preview to Scene. Now I want to point out that if everything was the same, so you had text and a JPEG, then you could pretty much click on go, you'd be in this screen, and then you could just save it. Click on the laser strike, and then save it for your DXF, CAD, RMD, whatever it is that you need for your laser. In this case, the reason that I added a layer, here it is, the point cloud layer, was because I want to do more work with a different technique. I want to create a logo here using X-ray, so not projection, not 0707852. So what I got to do is I got to make everything invisible except for what I want to work on. So I'm going to make the building invisible. I'm going to make the name invisible. What else? I've got Alessandra, Council Lane Business Park, and lead architect. There we go. So all of that's invisible. All I see is this point cloud. See here? The point cloud. So I'm even going to make my point cloud invisible. I'm going to bring it back later. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the logo that I wanted. I believe it was that one there. Yeah. And actually, let me just use the point cloud to reference it. So, yep, that's probably a good position right there. I might actually move my point cloud lower a little bit, somewhere around there. All right, let's make the point cloud invisible. Now on the Praxton group, you'll notice it's geometry, right? It's not points yet. We need to convert it to points because the final file that you're sending to your laser needs to be points. But to create a cool effect, because if I just leave it as is and I click on go, that's what it's going to look like, right? It's not as 3D. It's kind of just a frame in front of some characters. So instead what I'm going to do is, because of the way that this was modeled, again, the artists did a great job. We're going to go to our settings. We're going to go edit geometry, click on X-ray this time. And what you want to do is cut it in half. So usually it's 8, 5, 2, right? So our maximum layers will actually make 4. We'll make our Z factor 2, diffusion of 2. Make sure your fill solid is off. Click on save. And then increase your spacing. People always ask me, what are you doing? Why are you increasing your spacing? So just remember, when you're doing X-ray, you're casting points from all sides. That creates a lot of points, a saturation of points, and it results, or it could result in those points melting into each other, or cracking the crystal. So to be safe, we just increase the spacing. So 0.8 on XY, 0.12 on Z, click on OK, click on Go, and let it do its thing. And there you go. You see how much better it looks now? Isn't that nice? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this as a point cloud layer. So Tools, add point cloud preview to scene. And now I can actually make the logo invisible. There we go. Geometry. And we just see our point cloud. And let me open up the other point cloud. And there we go. Now, there's one more thing I want to do. We don't have the year on this. And I want to put the year, but I want to do it in a creative way. So what we're doing is we're actually going to put the year on a layer at the back. Okay, so on the Z, we're going to put the layer in this space over here. So you could do that by using the text tool and typing in 2022. In this case, I actually have the 2022 file, which is right there. The problem with it is that, let me just make my point clouds invisible for a second. The problem with it is that it is black. So I did it on in black on purpose because I wanted to demonstrate for you what happens when you have something in black and you, let me just change this here to projection again. And click on go, you'll hardly see it, right? You don't see anything. It's pretty much invisible because black represents no points. It's like transparent. So what we can do is we can turn on fill solid. So what I'll do is, again, I'll go to projection. I'll turn fill solid on. And what this will do is it'll fill it up. Okay. So there, now it's actually made it solid. It's ignored the black texture. It's just looked at the geometry and it has created white points on the geometry. Now, you can also control the brightness of this. Again, if you had just typed in 2022, for example, in Cockpit 3D, you could do that by reducing layers. If you want to decrease the brightness, if you were bringing in a JPEG from Photoshop, you could decrease the brightness by making it gray instead of white, right? So black would be no points, white would be full points, make it gray, and that's less points. In this case, since I'm using fill solid, I will actually just change my setting to, like, call it 50%. And that will reduce the saturation of points quite a bit. And there you go. And I can even do it further. So if I want it to be even closer to gray, let's go to 20. Reduce it by 80%. Save, okay. Go. And there you go. And I think that's good because it's at the back. Kind of want it to have almost a bit of a silhouette effect, all right? And let's just add this to point cloud preview to scene. Now, if you save here, it's only going to save 2022. So what you got to do is you've got to come back here. Let's make this 2022 geometry invisible. I think it was called, there it is, 2022. We see our point cloud because it's not hidden over here, right? And what we want to do is we want to unhide everything. So 1, 2, 3. And now I've got a lovely award with all the layers. Don't save it yet, because if you save it right now, all you're going to save is what the software sees in the point cloud window. We're in the scene window right now. That's the point cloud window. So it's going to only save the 2022. So last step, click on go. Remember, you always want to click on go as the second last step. And the last step would be to click on the laser strike and save it. Now what it's going to do is it's going to merge these different layers together, create one final point cloud, and that's the point cloud that you're going to save and send to your laser. And when it's all done, this is what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? So if you found this video informative, please do click on the thumbs up, subscribe, like, share, turn notifications on so you know every time we release a new video or decide to go live. Thanks for watching.